Dear learners, welcome back. In this video, we are going to solve a question asked in the previous year ESE in the year 2009 for 15 marks. So let's start with the question. Let's see what the question says. The question says that a stepped vertical steel bar ABCD is fixed at the top end A. Each segment of the bar AB, BC and CD is 1 meter long and has a cross-section area of 20 millimeter into 20 millimeter, 10 millimeter into 10 millimeter and 20 millimeter into 20 millimeter respectively. So as you can see over here, there are three bars. This is first one is this one. This is the first one. This is the second one, part BC, and this is the third one, part CD. The cross-sectional area of part AB is 20 into 20. The cross-sectional area of BC is 10 into 10. And the cross-sectional area of CD is 20 into 20. A 5 kilonewton load is applied directly at D and 6 kilonewton loads are applied on the levers attached to the stepped bar at B and C as shown in the figure. So there is a load acting of 5 kilonewton over here and 6 kilonewton loads are acting here and here, or this point is hinged and this is also hinged. Okay, this point A is fixed. Find the vertical displacement of D and the change in the volume of the bar. So they want us to find out what is the deflection of this point D. Okay, E is given to you and the Poisson's ratio is given to you. Connection between the levers and bar at B and C are hinged. So this between the levers and the bar, this point is hinged, they are saying, and you have to find out what is the deflection of this point D and also what is the volume change in the bar. Now, how will we approach this question? At a first glance, this question seems very difficult. So how are we going to approach this? So if you look carefully, we have to find just the deflection at point D. Whatever is the change in the length of this bar plus whatever this bar change in the first bar plus change in the length of second bar plus change in the length of third bar. If you add all the changes, what you will get? You will get the deflection of point D, right? Change in length of AB plus change of length of BC plus change of length of CD. What they will do? They will produce the total change in the point D, and that will be the deflection of point D. Okay, that should be our approach. But now what do we have to find out to find out the change in these bars? So what we are going to do, we are going to put the formula of PL by AE, right? In each bar we are going to find out what is PL by AE. Now for finding out this, A is given to us, area of cross section is given to us, E is given to us, L is also given to us for each bar, but what is not given to us is P. The force is not given to us. So first of all, we have to find out what are the forces acting on these bars, on bar A, B and C. So first of all, we have to find out what are the forces acting on each of these bars separately. Then we are going to find out the elongation of these bars separately, and if we add those elongations, we are going to get the deflection of point D, right? Now, what about these? What about these hinges? What about these lever arms? What are we going to do? So see, the forces are acting on these lever arms, and these forces are going to put some force over here in the hinge part, right? Either upwards or downwards, whatever the force is going to be there, the force is going to be there, right? So this force we have to find out in order to find out what is the total forces acting on each of the bars, right? So first of all, we are going to find out these forces because these are unknowns, right? If we find out these forces, then we are going to find the forces in each individual bar, and then we are going to find out what is the elongation of the bar. So that is the scheme of the question. Now let's proceed with the question. So first of all, we have to find these forces. How to do that? Let's draw the FBD. This is the drawing of the lever arms here. These are two lever arms, and we have to find out the forces over here, this point and this point. If we find out the forces at these 2 points, then only we can proceed. So first let's find out these forces. How to do that? These are at equilibrium, right? These are at equilibrium. So we are just going to like let this force be F1. Let's say let this force be F1, right? Now if we take the moment about this hinge, that should be must be equals to 0, right? So the length is given to you 0.5 meter and 0.5 meter. I'm sorry, I've written it as capital M. It is small m, that is meters. Okay, so what can we do? Summation of moment about point, let's say this point is P. Okay, let's say this point is P. So summation of moment about this point P is 0. So this implies F1 into 0.5 meter. So this is in the clockwise direction, and this is also turning in clockwise direction. So plus 6 kilonewton into 0.5 kilonewton, that is 6 into this lever arm, should be equals to 0, right? This implies F1 is equals to 6 into 0.5 is how much? 3. So minus 3 it will be here, and by 0.5. So again it is 6 5s are 30. So minus 6 kilonewton. And why a negative sign? Negative sign shows that this force, the direction of this force is not upward, rather it is in the downward direction. This force is acting in the downward direction. So this is force F1. So F1 is equals to how much? 6 kilonewton, right? Now let's find out what is the force F2. This is force F2. Let this point be point number Q. Again we are going to do the same thing. Summation of moment about point Q is 0. So you can write F2 into 0.4 plus 6 into 0.2, that is this F2 into 0.4 meter, and this 6 into 0.2 meters must be equals to 0. So this implies F2 must be equals to minus 6 2s is 12, that is 1.2 by 0.4. Then this and this will be gone, and 4 will be 3 times is 4 is 12, right? So it is minus 3 kilonewton. Again, what does this minus sign signifies? This minus sign signifies that F2 force is acting in the downward direction and not in the upward direction. So this force F2 is acting in the downward direction, and that is 3 kilonewton, right? So I think this was very easy to you. Now our this task has been done. Now once we know the value of F1 and F2, now we can proceed by drawing the FBD of AB, BC and CD. What is that? AB, that is this bar, BC and CD. We can draw the FBDs of this once we know these F1 and F2. How? Because F1 is the force acting in this hinge. We have just found out F1 and F2. What are those forces? F1 was the force acting in this hinge in the downward direction here. This was F1, and here in the downward direction was F2, right? So F1, what was the value of F1? F1 was 6 kilonewton and F2 was 3 kilonewton. So F1 was 6 kilonewton and F2 was 3 kilonewton, right? Now let's proceed by drawing the FBD of AB, BC and CD. So this is first block, that is AB. This is BC and this is CD block, right? In CD, there was a 5 kilonewton downward force acting, right? So in order to neutralize this, Let's add another 5 kilonewton in the upward direction. Okay, so this block is, FBD of this block is done. 5 kilonewton in the downward direction it was acting, so we have added another 5 kilonewton upward direction as a reaction to the downward force, right? So we have drawn the FBD of this one. Now we have to balance this point C. We have to balance this point C because at point C we have added 5 kilonewton in the upward direction all by ourselves. So we have to put another 5 kilonewton in the downward direction at point C, right? So are we going to put another 5 kilonewton here only? No. We are going to put another 5 kilonewton in the downward direction at point C in the other FBD. So this is 5 kilonewton in the other direction, right? So this is point C. Now if you look at point C, this one, F2 force of 3 kilonewton was acting in the downward direction, that is 3 kilonewton. Okay, so we have to add this also. So 3 kilonewton is acting in the downward direction, right? Now in order to balance this, we are going to add 8 kilonewton in the upward direction. 5 plus 3 is how much? 8. So 8 kilonewton in the upward direction. So the forces in the bar BC is now balanced. Okay, now we have added this 8 kilonewton at point B, which was not there. So we have to add another 8 kilonewton just opposite to this 8 kilonewton so that point B is balanced, right? So this 8 kilonewton force will be acting here. Okay, so this force, this 8 kilonewton and here 8 kilonewton will be balanced at point B. So forces at point B is balanced. Now if you look carefully, this F1 force of 6 kilonewton is also acting, right, in the downward direction at point A. So we are going to add this 6 kilonewton over here, another 6 kilonewton. Okay, now in order to balance the entire force in the bar AB, what we are going to do, 8 plus 6, how much it is? 14 kilonewton. So there will be a upward force of 14 kilonewton acting in this bar so that the forces in the entire bar is balanced. So here I have taught you in detail because this is the major part where students find it difficult to balance the forces. How are we going to balance the forces? So this is the part I have explained you, and if someone is having any confusion, please recheck what I have taught you. Go through the video once again. Now once we have got the forces, it's very easy for us to find out the deflection of point D. How are we going to find out the deflection? Simply PL by AE, PL by AE. So let's find out what is the deflection or the elongation of the bar AB. So change in the length of bar AB, what is that? It is PL by AE. So what is P? Force will be 14 kilonewton. What is the length of the bar? The length of the bar is given to you as 1 meter. Look here, it is given to you as 1 meter in the question. Length is given to you. What is area? Area is 20 millimeter into 20 millimeter. Okay, so cross sectional area is given to you and it is given to you in millimeters, so you have to convert it into meters. So 20 into 20, that is millimeter into millimeter, and if you convert it to meters, it will be minus 10 to the power minus 6. And what is the value of E? E is also given to you as 2 into 10 to the power 5 megapascals, or Newton. Megapascal is Newton per millimeter square. Okay, so everything is given to you in so E is given to you as 2 into 10 to the power 5 megapascal. Megapascal means Newton per millimeter square, so we have to change the units in Newton per millimeter square. That would be better, right? So how are we going to do that? Instead of 14 kilonewton, uh, we are going to change it to newton. So it will be 14 into 10 to the power 3. So this kilonewton is converted into newton. What is the length is in meter? 1 meter into 10 to the power 3. Now it is in millimeter. Now here we do not need to change it. We do not need to change this because 20 into 20 was already in millimeter, and e is 2 into 10 to the power 5. That means newton per millimeter square. Now we are just going to do the cut cut thing and we are going to get the answer. So it is 10 to the power 3 and this is 10 to the power 3 gone, 110 will be left, and this 10 to the power 5 is gone. Okay, now 2 7 times is 14. This 10 and this 2 will be gone, and we'll be left with 7 by 2. 2 twos are 4, 7 by 40, and that is mm. Okay, so what is 7 by 40? 7 divided by 40, it is 0.175. This is 0.175. Now let's calculate the same thing for second bar, this bar. Okay, so change in the length of bar BC will be how much? PL by AE again. So what is P? P is 8 kilonewton. We have converted into Newton. So 8 into 10 to the power 3. PL is how much? 1 meter into 10 to the power 3. So it is in newtons. Sorry, this is in millimeters. What is area of cross section? It is given to you in the question, 10 into 10. Now again it is in millimeters, and E is 2 into 10 to the power 5. Now again we'll do the cut cut thing and everything will be sorted out. So this 10 to the power 3, this total 10 to the power 6. Now we have to cut similar 10 to the power 6 here. It's gone. Now it is 2, 4 times is 8. So 4 by 10 is how much? 0.4. Right? 0.4. Same thing for last bar. Deflection in CD will be how much? PL by AE. P is 5 kilonewton. So we have to convert it into newtons, 10 to the power 3. L length is given to you as 1 meter. So 1 into 10 to the power 3, that is in millimeters. Area of cross section is 20 into 20. It is already in millimeters. E is given to you in 2 into 10 to the power 5. Right? Now simply do the cut cut thing and we'll be getting the answer. So 10 to the power 3, 10 to the power 3. So it is 10 to the power 6. So 10 to the power 5. One more 10 we have to cut. So it is 10, 2 times is 20. Okay. Now it will be 5 by 2 twos are 4, twos are 8. 5 by 80, right? 1s are 5, 16 5s are is 80. So 1 by 16. How much is 1 by 16? 1 by 16 is in decimals 0.0625. 0.0625. So this is the deflection of or elongation of point CD, right? So if you add all the three elongations, what you are going to get? You are going to get the deflection of point D. This deflection of point D is what? Summation of elongation of bar AB plus bar BC plus bar CD. So just add these three, we are going to get the deflection of point D. Let's do it in the other page. Okay, deflection of point D is what? Is change in the length of AB plus change in the length of BC plus change in the length of CD. So what is the change in the length of AB? From the previous one we have got change in the length of AB is 0.175, right? 0.175 millimeters plus BC. BC is how much? 0.4 plus what is the change in the length of part CD? It is 0.0625. 0.0625. Now if you add all these values, you are going to get what is the deflection of point D. So 0.175 plus zero point 0.4 plus 0.0625, and that's equals to 0.6375. 0.6375 millimeters. So this is the deflection of point D. Now let's move on to the next part of the question. The next part of the question states that find the vertical displacement of D that we have just found out. And the next part of the question says that change in the volume of the bar. We have to find out how much is the change in the volume of the bar. I mean all the three bars. Okay. So how are we going to find out the change in the volume of the bar? So for finding out the change in the volume of the bar, let's first find out what is volumetric strain. We will first find out volumetric strain. What is volumetric strain? It is the change in the volume to the original volume, right? So once we can find out the volumetric strain and multiply it with the original volume of the bar, we can find out what is the change in the volume of the bar, isn't it? Now how are we going to find out the volumetric strain? Now we know that volumetric strain is the sum of strain in x direction plus strain in y direction plus strain in z direction. This is the one thing that you should know. This is important. So this formula we are going to use. This is the volumetric strain is the summation of strains in all the three directions. Now our next task is to find out the strains in all the three directions. That is strain in x direction, strain in y direction and strain in z direction. This is the next task. So now how are we going to find out these strains? Now we know the relationship between the stress, strain and the Poisson's ratio. Okay. And what's that? Strain in x direction is sigma x by E minus mu sigma y by E minus mu sigma z by E. Okay. And this formula is applicable when all the stresses are tensile in nature. In this formula, sigma x, sigma y and sigma z are tensile in nature. Okay. So this is again one of the important formulas which we are going to put in order to find out strain in x direction. Now similarly, what is the strain in y direction? Strain in y direction is sigma y by E minus, or let me write it like this, it is minus mu sigma x by E plus sigma y by E minus mu sigma z by E, right? And what is the strain in z direction? It is minus mu sigma x by E minus mu sigma y by E plus sigma z by E. Okay. So these are the three formulas which we are going to use. Now let's draw the bar. So the first bar AB is having a 14 kilonewton of load in it. Okay. Let's draw this one. So the bar AB is having a load of 14 kilonewton and it is tensile in nature, right? Now let this be x direction, let this be y direction and let this be z direction. Okay. So this is x direction, this is y direction and this is z direction. Okay. This is x. Now there is no load, there is no stress acting in the x direction. What we are doing, we are finding we are finding the strain in x direction. There is no load acting in the x direction. So sigma x will be 0, right? Sigma y is how much? Sigma y is 14 kilonewton. Sorry, this is the load. So 14 kilonewton divided by whatever is its cross-sectional area. Cross-sectional area is uh, 20 into 20 millimeters, right? So it's kilonewton millimeter square. Now sigma z is, again, there is no stress acting in the z direction, so it is again 0, right? Similarly, if we are finding out the strain in y direction, sigma x will be 0 and sigma z will be 0. Also, when we are finding out the strain in z direction, sigma x will be 0 and sigma z will be 0. So let's find out how many elements will be eliminated. So whenever there is sigma x and sigma z, that term will be eliminated, right? So this term and this term will be eliminated. Sigma x and sigma z again will be eliminated, and sigma x and sigma z again will be eliminated, right? Because there is no forces acting in the x direction and in the z direction. Okay, so now what we are going to get, the volumetric strain will be summation of x, strain in x direction plus strain in y direction plus strain in z direction, right? So what we are going to get, it is sigma y by e minus mu sigma y by e minus mu sigma y by e. So we are going to get something like this, right? So instead of writing sigma y by e, what I am going to do, I am writing sigma y as same as sigma. Okay, stress, just the stress. Why to write x, y and z only if there is sigma y, right? So what I am doing, I am writing sigma by e and minus 2 mu sigma by e. So let's solve it further. Sigma by e will be common and 1 minus 2 mu. So see, we are going to use this formula now. So now you know why is this coming up. Sigma by e minus 1 minus 2 mu, right? So let me just repeat it once again quickly. We have to find out the change in the volume of the bar. For finding out the change in the volume of the bar, we are finding out volumetric strain, right? Now the volumetric strain can be found out using this formula, which is volumetric strain is the summation of sigma strain in x direction plus strain in y direction plus strain in z direction. Now strain in x direction can be found out using this formula, that is stress by that is sigma x by e minus mu sigma y by e minus mu sigma z by e. Now strain in y direction is mu sigma x by e sigma y by e minus mu sigma z by e. Strain in z direction will be minus mu sigma x by e minus mu sigma y by e plus sigma z by e. Now if we carefully look at the bar, we found that in the x and z direction there were no forces acting. That means no stresses are acting in the x and z direction. So because of that, all the sigma x and sigma z got eliminated, and we found out that volumetric strain is the summation of sigma y by e minus mu sigma y by e minus mu sigma y by e. What we did, we just added everything. Now solving this, we get, instead of sigma y, what I am doing, I am writing sigma y as same as sigma, and finally we are getting sigma by e 1 minus 2 mu. This formula, ultimate formula. Now we are going to use this formula in order to find out the volumetric strain for all the three bars, right? Now for that we have to calculate what is the sigma for first bar, for second bar and for the third bar. Sigma means stress, and that is the only stress acting here. So for bar AB, let's do it again. For this is for bar AB, the load was 14 kilonewton, right? Tensile load. This is load and not the stress. We have to find out sigma, that is the stress. So what we are going to do, we have to divide this load by the cross-sectional area of the rod in order to find out what is sigma. So 14 divided by this 20 into 20 was the cross-sectional area of rod AB, I guess. Yes, this 20 into 20 for rod AB. So it is 14 kilonewton by 20 millimeter square, right? So it is kilonewton per millimeter square. So this will be 14 into 10 to the power 3 Newton, and this is 20 into 20 millimeter square. So Newton per millimeter square is megapascals. Okay, so it will be, this 0 and 0 will be cancelled out. Let me use a different color. This 0 and 0 will be cancelled out, and this will be only 10, and this is 7, and this is 0, and this is 5. So 7 5 is 35 megapascal. Okay, so this is the stress acting, 35 megapascals. So what will be sigma by E? 1 minus 2 mu. We have to find out sigma by E, 1 minus 2 mu. Why we have converted this in megapascals? Because E is given us to us in megapascals, right? E is given to us in megapascals. It is 2 into 10 to the power 5 MPa. So it is 35 by 2 into 10 to the power 5, 1 minus 2, and what is the value of mu given to us? It is 0.25, I guess. Yes, 0.25 is the value of mu, 0.25. So now if you just uh, solve this, what is the value you're getting? 35 by 2 into 10 to the power 5, and then 1 minus 0.5. 8.75 into 10 to the power minus 5. This is the volumetric strain, and it has got no units, right, for AB. Okay, now let's find out what is the volumetric strain for BC. So BC is having a load of 88 kilonewton, and what is the cross sectional area? It is 10 into 10, right? So 8 kilonewton load is acting, but we have to find out what is stress, not just the load. Here there chances of committing a mistake is quite high. Now we have to find out sigma first. So sigma will be how much? It is 8 into 10 to the power 3, that is newtons, and divided by 10 into 10, this is Newton per millimeter square. So it is megapascals now. So 10 and 10 will be gone, and we'll be left with this 10 again. So it is 80 MPa, megapascals. Now we are going to put this at 80, that is stress, in this formula. So what we are going to get? It is 80 by, let me use a different color so that it is easier for you. So sigma sigma by E, 1 minus 2 mu will be what? It is 80 by 2 into 10 to the power 5 into 1 minus 2 into 0.25, and that is equals to 2 into 10 to the power minus 4, and that is EV for BC, right? That is volumetric strain for BC. Now let's calculate the same thing for CD, bar CD, right? So this is the bar CD. How much is the load acting in this case? The load acting is 5 kilonewton. So this is 5 kilonewton load. So what will be the stress now? Stress will be force per unit area, that is 5 kilonewton into 10 to the power 3 by area is 20 into 20. So that will be 12.5 MPa, right? Now this stress we are going to put in the formula sigma by E, 1 minus 2 mu, and that will be equals to 12.5 by 2 into 10 to the power 5, 1 minus 2 into 0.25, and that is equals to 3.125 into 10 to the power minus 5, and this is the volumetric strain for CD, right? This is volumetric strain for CD. Now we do not have to find out the volumetric strain. What we have to find out? We have to find out the change in the volume, right? Change in the volume. So now volumetric strain we have found out. Now we have to find out change in the volume. That is, change in the volume is equals to volumetric strain is equals to change in volume by original volume. For that we have to find out the original volume of the bars as well. So original volume of AB. What is the original volume of AB? Volume of AB will be how much? It is 20 into 20, that is the cross sectional area. And what is the length? I think 1 meter was the length, right? 1 meter for each bar. 1 meter means it is 1000 millimeter. So this is the volume of first bar. So it is 4 into 1 10 to the power 5 millimeter cube, right? Now volume of BC will be how much? See, the BC was the cross sectional area was 10 into 10 if you remember, and the 10 into 10 was the cross sectional area, and 1000, that means the length was 1 meter, so it is 1000 millimeter, will give you 10 to the power 5 millimeter cube. That is the volume of BC. Now volume of CD is how much? Again it is 20 into 20 into 1000, right? So 20 into 20 into 1000, and that will again give you 4. No, not a minus sign, I'm just sorry, this is not the minus sign. So it will be 4 into 10 to the power 5 millimeter cube. Now once we got the volume of all the three parts and we have got the volumetric strain of all the three parts, so volumetric strain of AB is how much? Volumetric strain of AB is how much? It is 8.75 into 10 to the minus 5. Let me write it down. 8.75 into 10 to the power minus 5. Now volumetric strain of BC is how much? Volumetric strain of BC is 2 into 10 to the power minus 4, right? 2 into 10 to the power minus 4. And the volumetric strain of CD is how much? It is 3.125 into 10 to the power minus 5. 3.125 into 10 to the power minus 5. Now, if you multiply these two values, that means the volume of the bar into the volumetric strain, you are going to get the change in the volume. So let's find out that. So change in the volume of AB is how much? This is the final answer we are getting, okay? 4 into, okay, so this 4 into 10 to the power 5 into 8.75 into 10 to the minus 5. So this minus 5 and minus 5 will be gone, and the final answer will be 8.75 into 4. So that is 35 millimeter cube. Now change in the volume of BC is how much? It is this 10 to the power 5 into 10 to the power minus 4 will cancel each other out and will get only 10, and then 10 into 2 is 20 millimeter cube. And then change in the volume of CD will be how much? It is this 10 to the power 5 and 10 to the power minus 5 will be gone, and it is 3.125 into 4, and that will give you 12.5 millimeter cube. So that is going to be the correct answers. Okay, now I hope you liked the session, you enjoyed the session. This is Shraddha Bharti signing off. Bye bye, have a nice day. Do like and share this video for more, and share this with your peer group. Don't forget to share this with your peer group, it is very important for me. Bye bye and have a nice day.